Lo, by Charles Hoyfort, Part 1, Chapter 1M. In the Worcester Daily Times, May 30th, it is said that, upon the 28th, news had reached Worcester of the wonderful fall from the sky of periwinkles on Cromer Gardens Road, and spread far around in fields and gardens. Mostly, people of Worcester were incredulous, but some had gone to the place. Those who had faith returned with periwinkles. Two correspondents then wrote that they had seen the periwinkles upon the road before the storm, where probably a fishmonger had got rid of them. So the occurrence conventionalized, and out of these surmises arose the story of the fishmonger, though it has never been told before, as I have told it. Mr. J. Lloyd Bosworth, a writer whose notes on meteorological subjects are familiar to readers of scientific periodicals of this time, was investigating, and his findings were published in the Worcester Evening Post, June 9th. As to the story of the fishmonger, note his statement that the value of periwinkles was 16 shillings a bushel. He says that a wide area on both sides of the road was strewn with periwinkles, hermit crabs, and small crabs of an unascertained species. Worcester is about 30 miles from the mouth of the River Severn, or say about 50 miles from the sea. Probably no fishmonger in the world ever had, at one time, so many periwinkles. But as to anybody having got rid of a stock, because of a glutted market, for instance, Mr. Bosworth says, neither upon Saturday, the 28th, nor Friday, the 27th, was there such a thing procurable in Worcester as a live periwinkle. Gardens as well as fields were strewn. There were high walls around these gardens. Mr. Bosworth tells of about 10 sacks of periwinkles, of a value of about 20, in the markets of Worcester, that, to his knowledge, had been picked up. Crowds had filled pots and pans and bags and trunks before he got to the place. In Mr. Mund's garden, 2 sacks were filled with them. It is his conclusion that the things fell from the sky during the thunderstorm. So his is the whirlwind explanation. There are extraordinary occurrences and conventionalization cloaks them, and the more commonplace the cloakery, the more satisfactory. Periwinkles appear upon a tract of land, through which there is a road. A fishmonger did it. But the crabs and the fishmonger, and if the fishmonger did the periwinkles, did he do the crabs, if he did it? Or the crabs and the whirlwind, and if the periwinkles were segregated from pebbles and seaweed, why not from the crabs, if segregation did it? The strongest point for the segregationists is in their own mental processes, which illustrate that segregations, whether by wind action or not, do occur. If they have periwinkles and crabs to explain, and say that with a story of a fishmonger or of a whirlwind, they can explain the periwinkles, though so they cannot explain the crabs, a separation of data occurs in their mentalities. They forget the crabs and tell of the periwinkles.